If Orlando Brown Jr. decides to hold out this year, how are the Chiefs going to fare with a makeshift offensive line?
Find out next.
You are listening to KC Sports Network, the #1 podcast network for today's Kansas City sports fans. With former players from your favorite teams, informed perspectives, and former insiders, this is the place for you. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts or on our YouTube channel, all over social media, or our morning newsletter, KCSN Daily, dedicated to your Kansas City Chiefs. KC Sports Network is proudly presented by Emprise Bank, your partner in possible.
What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome into 21 Questions presented by our good friends at Macadoodles. Macadoodles is one of the finest liquor establishments in this planet, in this universe. I mean, Craig Stout says it is, so you have to believe it. 21 Questions, one of my favorite shows that I get to do probably monthly. Is it more than monthly? I'm here with Matt Lane of the KC Laboratory. Matty, do you think it's more monthly? Maybe you get more monthly reps in. But I think I'm on about monthly.
Buddy, I'm on a 21 questions heater right now. Like I'm not all back to back, but I think we've been on I've been on probably 4 of the last 6. Maybe this will make like 4 out of the last 5, something like that. So, I'm on a bit of the 21 questions heater, but it's easy for me. I just show up and answer questions. You or whoever else here is with me reads off. And I don't really, I'm not hosting it. I'm not preparing for it. You guys take the reins. I literally just show up. That's all I'm here for. I just show up like Marshawn Lynch.
I almost thought about suggesting that to you today. I mean, like, hey, Matty, do you want to host it today? And just like to see how that would, I don't think it would have been bad. Like, I'm not saying that at all. I just think it would have been a nice taste for the listener. But I went back and looked at our Google sheet that we have, our calendar of who's doing it. Matty, you've been 1, 2, 3 out of the last 6. So,
okay.
Not
that many. Not that many.
Well, I mean,
I got a lot coming up. Not Tucker. You're here. Kent's traveling a lot. I've taken a lot of them here. So it's, you guys get questions. I beg you guys, ask questions about anything when you send them in too. We talk a lot of Chiefs, and we have no problem answering Chiefs questions, whether we're on a different show on this one. But you guys want to send in questions? This is your time to shine. Ask any question you want on this show. Whoever's here, they're going to answer it. They will be forced to answer it, whoever it is.
It's true. And Matty, you don't have anything blocked off on your availability. You guys should see Kent's column. It's basically all blacked out. So you're gonna be getting Matty on the 21 questions. Probably me too, because it looks like I'm pretty open as well. So let's go ahead and dive right into the questions.
Hold on, you know who else is now open? Kyler Murray, because he doesn't have to study anymore. He is wide open. Buddies.
That was a wild 24 hours, right? Was it even 24 hours? When that clause came out, I think we had a question when I was compiling all these questions together. We had a question about about his clause, but then the news came out as I was putting these together, and I was like, well, I'm just going to take that question out because that's not relevant anymore because it's not in his contract anymore. But what an absolute wild turn of events there. He goes to the media too and complains about it. Whoa, this league.
Well, this is perfect because I'm jumping ahead here, but our first question is from Positivitoasty, and it says, what is the biggest peak offseason moment? Mine is Kyler Murray being told that he has homework, and then within 24 hours of cyberbullying the Cardinals and the world online, he gets that clause removed from his contract so that he can play Call of Duty, I'm assuming, when it releases later this year. If that's not peak offseason and the fact that it happened to the Cardinals, I don't know what is.
Boy, it seems like this offseason was kind of non-existent. I was trying to think of something else that kind of went on, but I think also
it was wild, based on all of it.
Right. I don't know why I just thought about this because usually anything wild happens with Antonio Brown, but Antonio Brown quote tweeted somebody about the Steelers. He was tweeting about some coach on the Steelers now, and he signed his tweet AB like people didn't know that it was him. And I was just like, this might be the wildest thing he's ever done. And he's done some wild stuff, but like signing your tweet with your name, insane.
Listen, you never know if you're, if it's him, if it's Mr. Big Chest, like you don't know who he's being. So I understand.
That's a good point. Let's talk about a football thing. And Maddie, this question I think you're going to like a whole lot. This is from Persh. What's the stat line Kelsey would need to have on the year to win the NFL MVP? And what would you put the odds of him hitting said numbers? Listen, I'm going to kind of be a Debbie Downer on this. Maddie, you can go in about Travis Kelsey all you want. MVP is a quarterback award. I've lost all hope in any position player, let alone a tight end winning the MVP. So I hate to be pessimistic there. He would have to put up probably set the record in catches, in yards, in touchdowns for it to be even considered. So sorry to be a Debbie Downer there, but that's what I think.
I mean, 105 catches, 1,416 yards, 11 touchdowns as a tight end, averaging over 13 yards per catch was only good enough to get him tied for fourth for Offensive Player of the Year 2 years ago. And he would obviously have to top those, and then you would have to have every quarterback kind of have a down year to even have a chance. But what are the odds that every quarterback's going to have a down year, and then that no other wide receiver who's probably going to be a little bit more, known in national media? So like, I think that's what you're looking at for baseline numbers at 1,500 yards, 13 touchdowns, averaging over 10 yards per catch. The Chiefs have to be good, but it can't be on the back of Patrick or the arm or the back of Patrick Mahomes, or he will win it over him. So like, there's no real path, I don't think, for him to do it. I would say like getting an Offensive Player of the Year award is more possible. It's just you still have to top those numbers that I just said, and that just seems wildly impossible right now. It's like I'm going 1 in 100 odds.
Yeah. I don't know what that translates to like the plus minus system. But that's a lot. Maybe it's plus 1,000. If you know, tell me in the comment section below because I would like to learn. Okay, Maddie, I'm doing a little bit of pre-research that I probably should have done before we hit record on this podcast for this next question here, and I think I've got it. Here we go. Bruce in the Fort. How many different players will get a sack this year?
14.
Looking right now. So
I have nothing else. I don't. It's an interesting question because we obviously don't know. Somebody getting hurt essentially maybe makes a team worse, but it makes the odds of somebody else getting a sack better. So like it's kind of hard. I don't think the Chiefs have a particularly deep defensive line in terms of getting sacks, of churning out pressure. If Mike Dana has 0 sacks this year, is anyone absolutely floored? No. If Karlaftis doesn't get one, are we disappointed? Yes, but are you absolutely blown away that Karlaftis couldn't pull off a sack? No, probably not. Same thing with Carlos Dunlap, who the Chiefs just signed. So like, there's so many different guys on this team that could have 0 sacks, and it wouldn't blow your mind. So like, I feel like 14 maybe is kind of low, but I also still don't know what this Chiefs pass rush is really going to be overall.
Here's a fun stat for you. I just looked it up. This is what I was looking up. How many Chiefs registered a stat last year? Registered a sack? If you consider half a sack as registering a sack, 13. If you do not, if you only had like if you want whole numbers of sack, it'd be 12. So that is
so
very low. I don't know what the league number would be, and I don't know the easiest way to go about finding that without going through every team's Pro Football Reference page and counting them. Because that's how my brain works, is doing things the hardest way possible. But yeah, no, I do think that's pretty low, and I don't anticipate if you look at these sack numbers too, you had Chris Jones with 9, Frank Clark with 4.5, Derek Knight with 3. Obviously, none very impressive. As a team, they only had 31 sacks. So that's not very many either. So they need a good output from their defensive line. And I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a ton. I think it will probably be, dare I say, fractionally better than last year in terms of as many people getting a sack.
Well, I guess the one thing the Chiefs have going for them is the defensive line isn't stellar. and you have Steve Spagnello calling plays, so you are going to get a fair amount of blitzes. They're going to come from a lot of places, so you have the opportunity for slot corners like L'Jarius Sneed to get some pressures. You have safeties that will blitz.
Right.
You have corners that will blitz, and the linebackers. Like, you have options for non-defensive linemen to get in there. So maybe that's why you see that number bump, and I don't even want to say up, but just still be that high when you compare like the overall talent across the board. But I don't know. Yeah, I think 14 is probably about where I'm going to land on this one, because I just only Chris Jones and probably Frank Clark, I guess, having 0 sacks at the end of the year. Those are the only two that I would be absolutely floored by, I think. And like when that's the case, it's a tough look.
I agree. Christian Gumminger, what player is a lock for the 53 but will have a tough time cracking the game day actives? Listen, I love this dude. I love him so much. He's one of my favorite players on the team. It's probably Colin Saunders, man. It's probably Colin Saunders once again. I think he makes the roster just because, what he adds to that defensive line. I know it's getting a little bit crowded there. Who is it? Taylor Stallworth, right? Haven't heard a lot of buzz about him. I saw him after practice today, and I was like, "Oh, that dude's on this team." That's kind of what it was like. I mean, granted, it's day 2. They're wearing shorts. They're not wearing anything, so it's like, don't take that much from it. But like, I was like, "Oh yeah, that guy. He's here." So like, I think Derek Nottie. He's getting plenty of run. I think that Colin Saunders is going to be that guy, kind of like he was last year, sadly.
Okay, so I'm going to cheat because I'm going to take like the 10th offensive lineman, whoever the last offensive lineman to make the team is, and trying to figure out who that is. So we're assuming Orlando Brown Jr. is back. We know the starting 5. I think as of this point, we have to pencil Roderick in there as being a lock to be active because he's getting on the second team reps at left tackle. So Roderick Johnson in. I'm going to put Darian Kennard in. That pulls me up to 7. Nick Allegretti being the backup center, it sounds like, for second team. That gets me to 8. Garyon Christian, Nick, Austin Ryder, Lucas Niang if he comes back. I don't know who I'm going to pick here.
Interesting.
Okay, I'm going with Austin Ryder because they're playing him at guard right now. I don't know what he looks like at guard. Is he the first guy they want to come off the bench to play guard for this team? If so, that helps his case to be active, obviously. But if he's not, without any ability to kick outside and with clearly being removed, if that's where we get to, of being the backup center, I don't see a reason that he has to be active. Now, again, this comes down to if they see him as the first guard off the bench, that changes everything. But I'm going to go with him right now because I don't think he's a guard. I think he's too small.
I think so too. He's smaller than Creed. I don't know if you saw that picture in the offseason with those two guys together. I was kind of surprised by that picture at the offensive line. So, I'm going to get to talk about it. And I think it's kind of the same situation that Nick Allegretti was in the Super Bowl year, right? Where he was kept active because he could play center as well. But like Nick Allegretti's going to be in the Nick Allegretti situation, right? So like Nick Allegretti can play center. And he's going to be that backup center, but he can also play guard if you need him to. He's not going to play tackle. But if they keep the swing tackle in Christian, Kennard is obviously going to be there. Kennard's getting a lot of reps at 2 right tackle. That I don't know if I would consider it a position battle either between right tackle. I think Wiley has that right tackle position until if he gets hurt or something like that, God forbid, knock on wood, don't want that to happen. But like, I think that it's Wiley's to lose, I should say. And I think that that's going to be a position to watch. And I can't even remember who the right guard was. It was somebody I hadn't heard of, which is very rare in terms of offensive line, who was playing right guard today. I think his last name started with a B. And there's maybe a new signing. I got to look up on my Twitter because I put it up on there. I had to look him up on the roster. That's how I knew that I didn't know who this guy was. He was wearing 66, I think. You're muted, Maddie.
Mike Caliendo is who 66 is. He's out of Western Michigan. He's a rookie. This was my one concern with going with when I finally got to Austin Ryder here. I was looking through the Chiefs' depth at the offensive line. I don't dislike it, but the interior depth after Allegretti isn't great. So like somebody would really have to outplay Ryder to take that role and make him the answer. But again, I'm going with I just don't think Austin Ryder's a guard. And if you're just the third string center, I don't see how you're active on most game days, but I can see why the team would keep you around as an emergency guard and then the third string super emergency center.
All right, Maddie, this one is from Ross Sawyer. The holiday bourbon smash was excellent. Very good drink. Wearing my holiday cap today. You know where you can get holiday? Anything holiday? Magadoodles. What are other underrated or unknown cocktails that you suggest? Recently, I've been drinking a lot of Crown Royal Peach and Sprite. I don't think that that's considered a cocktail, but I certainly enjoy it.
Yeah. Okay. This is a Craig one. Craig sent this out for a while. It's a nice little summer drink. It's called a gin daisy. So you use a little bit of gin, a little bit of lemon juice, orange liqueur. So I use triple sec, but any orange liqueur will work for that. And then it's just, some form of soda water, tonic water on top, whatever you want. So I put, the gin, lemon juice, liqueur, and a little shaker, shake it up, put it over ice, top it with some, I think I have tonic, like a sugar-free tonic water right now, or 0-calorie tonic water, but I'd much prefer just like any carbonated water works for that. So a gin daisy, or this is it. This is the recipe for the best gin and tonic that you have had. Get your shaker cup, get some mint leaves in there, you muddle them up, you get your little ice, you put in your gin, you get your lime juice, 4 whole peppercorns go in there. With your mint, you got your 4 whole peppercorns, you shake it up, you pour it in your glass with the ice, but then instead of just a normal, just anything else, you got to get elderflower tonic water. A flavor of tonic water, elderflower, most grocery stores have it. It's a game changer. It makes it so much more refreshing. Put that bad boy in there. It's like, big gin kick right now in my life. And those are the two where I kind of my out of the norm that I go to most of the time, especially in the summer.
I love it. Gin is a great summer drink. It's a great summery
Year-round.
drink. It is, yeah, but it's great in the summer.
It also doesn't get cold here, so
it's fair. All right, where am I at now? Oh yeah, Zach, easy content, Faux McGorkin. His name gets longer every time we do one of these 21 questions. How many first-round picks do you hope the Chiefs have for the 2023 drafts by the time it rolls around? Maddie, I can't remember off the top of my head. Is it 12 they have right now?
Yes, total they have 12.
Okay.
But this is just for first rounders. How many do I hope they have? I don't know, 28. Sure. I mean, like, right? But okay, what do I think they have is realistic? I think 2. I think hoping for and expecting 2 is very possible. You're going to ask where the second one is coming from. I am still looking directly at a Chris Jones trade that nets back a first-round draft pick. I would be a little surprised if he plays on his current cap hit for next year. The Chiefs have been very hesitant to long-term sign guys at his age, especially the position that's probably the market isn't necessarily going down at defensive tackle if you're at the top. Look at what Aaron Donald just got paid, but it's also not a premium position in the majority of the NFL. Combine that with Chris Jones' age. I don't know if the Chiefs will be the team to spend that much money on an extension for him. I wouldn't be floored to see him traded. I would hope it would net a package of picks that included a second first rounder for the Chiefs next year.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. If they had a second first rounder with the draft in Kansas City, that'd be pretty sweet. And maybe that plays into the negotiations a little bit. Probably won't, but I think that's kind of a cool thing to think about, drafting a player who's going to be. You think he would be there if you're going to draft in the first round, right? A lot of these guys are going to be at the draft. Maybe not at the area the Chiefs are drafted in, 32, but they get a good pick for, like, say, I don't know, the Niners. Say they trade Chris Jones to the Niners, and they get a pretty decent pick because the Niners are going to be not very good this year, in my opinion. They could get a good pick there. So if you want to hear my Niners takes, that's for another podcast. But Maddie, I've got to ask you this question from B-Fry. If Brown holds out this season, do you think the Chiefs can manage this season with a makeshift offensive line?
I don't like their options at left tackle. I'm a little worried that Roderick Johnson has been the go-to move to open camp here at left tackle. I don't think he's that good. I think the NFL has told you that for the last few years. I think what we've seen is it hasn't been great. And I don't know if you can limp by at left tackle when your right tackle's still just okay. when your right tackle is fine. Andrew Wiley being a starting right tackle is great if that's your 5th best offensive lineman. But all of a sudden, when he becomes your 4th best, and then the only position worse is the opposite tackle spot for a team that wants to drop back and hopefully throw vertical a little bit with a quarterback that likes to drift and move around, that's not a great combination. So, like, if Orlando Brown Jr. does not come back, I think they have to go look and find somebody. Like, I think if he doesn't report when you're getting close to week 1, I think you have to go out and make Eric Fisher work. And like, Fisher has to understand that when OBJ decides to come back, if he does, he's probably on the out. Or the Chiefs just send a message and pay Orlando Brown Jr. money to sit on the bench. I don't know. It's just, I don't think you can get by with a Roderick Johnson, with whatever Lucas Niang is going to be when he gets back. I don't even love the concept of moving Wiley over so that Darian Kennard can play right tackle. Like, I just don't like the options.
He played left tackle in the Super Bowl, didn't he? Was that
No,
that?
Rimmers played left.
That was Rimmers.
Wiley
That's right.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, they've kept Wiley on the right side. So like, I doubt he would. I think if they had to go into week 1, I'm assuming it would be Joe Thuney would kick out right now.
Yeah.
I think the reason they're not doing it is they're holding out hope that Orlando Brown is coming back, and they don't want to make Thuney do all a camp at left tackle when he's going to play left guard. I would say Thuney not playing left tackle makes me feel better that they think Brown will be back sooner rather than later.
And then if they do move Thuney out there, you're looking at what, Alec Reddy is your left guard? I mean,
but I think that's more acceptable, though, I think, than having it be both tackles, right? Like, Thuney obviously takes a step back playing left tackle versus left guard in terms of his overall play, but he's still fine. He's still arguably going to be your best offensive lineman. So having Alec Reddy now be your worst offensive lineman at left guard is probably more palatable than it being both of your tackles, I would assume.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. Now, if Orlando Brown finds himself, living paycheck to paycheck kind of on this little holdout here, I've got something for him. And that is Dave. Everyone, especially in these times, living paycheck to paycheck, struggling to make ends meet, it can be really stressful. And when unexpected expenses come up, that's the worst. I hate when unexpected expenses come up. Sometimes NFL Game Pass renews, and I'm like, I didn't want to pay $95 for this, and now I've got to try to figure out how to cover that. Now Dave can help you get out of a pinch when you really need it. Dave is the banking app that can help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. That's more money to fill your tank, buy a wedding gift, catch up on bills, or even pay for NFL Plus now. You can finally tackle those expenses that have been stressing you out without any hangups. There's no interest and no credit check needed. Millions of people have already downloaded the Dave app to get financial relief that they needed with extra cash. So if you're in a pinch, need some extra help, download the Dave app and think of it as a helping hand from future you. So this is what you need to do. You need to download the Dave app at the App Store right now. That's DAVE. Sign up for an extra cash account right now with promo code KC Sports and get up to $500 instantly. And for terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking provided by Evolve, member FDIC. Now, Grayson Jaspers, day one, boosted in the Discord, by the way. All these questions asked in the Discord. He's a Discord booster. So that's a big deal in the Discord community. Go make sure if you want to ask questions, go subscribe to the KCS and Substack. If you like what we're doing here, Maddie writes good stuff there. You get a daily newsletter every day from Charles Goldman, who was going to make an appearance on this podcast via a question. But Grayson Jasper, he asked, who's covering Julio in week 4? And one of my favorite responses, I think it might have been from you, Maddie. Maybe it wasn't. It said Tampa Bay medical staff.
Wasn't me. My answer was going to be, the team jacket, the parka, whatever, whatever means he's not playing, because it's unfortunately an aging Julio. So, yeah, we're going to go with that. The Gatorade towel, team uniform, team, track jacket, whatever it is that, the inactive players get is where I would lead to right now.
I got to give credit where credit's due. That's just DRK that said that. I thought it was very funny. Grayson Jasper also followed up with another question. The Chiefs do take care of Kelsey. Does this change the optics on the Orlando Brown contract at all? Very interesting question. Basically, the Chiefs do take care of their guys, thus squishing the argument for Orlando Brown Jr. I think that this is an interesting point to bring up with $3 million getting shifted up in Kelsey's deal. We talked about this on KCSN Update. It's the Chiefs taking care of a guy who has been underpaid at his position criminally, might I add, criminally underpaid at his position, outperformed what he's been paid his whole career. And now they're giving him a little bit extra money. Is it that, or, are they not something else? What do you think, Maddie?
So there's a couple different ways I could look at this. Yes, they're taking care of Travis Kelce is part of it. The other part is they moved money that he would be owed from the end of his contract for him to get it sooner. Why? What are some other reasons you would move money from the end of someone's contract so that they can get it earlier? My mind circles around to, I wonder if he or if the team maybe isn't planning or knowing for sure that he is going to finish out that contract, whether it's going to another team, goodness, I hope not, or deciding to move on from football because he's not a young guy anymore. So that's what goes in the back of my mind is, yes, they are helping him out with this, but also there's probably a specific reason for it. Now, maybe that reason is they know they can give him more money now, restructure him, extend him again, whatever it may be, and keep him locked in. Or it just could be we know he's getting towards the end. Maybe he's not sure if he's going to make it to the end of that contract. At the end of the day, though, I don't think this has any bearing on Orlando Brown Jr. I think, if anything, the way these talks went, it's kind of been like, okay, the Chiefs don't dislike Orlando Brown Jr., but I don't know if he's necessarily one of their guys. I think the way these talks seem to unravel, I think it's just a professional athlete or a professional person in the workplace dealing with a boss in the workplace, dealing with somebody that's going to pay them, and they're negotiating. I don't think it's really we're taking care of one of our guys that came up through our system that we have this significant connection with. It's just, that's not the vibe I got from the way things went down.
I think it's a good way to look at it. Next question we got here. This one is from Azuri Gunner. At Tucker, what are your MAC power rankings heading into the new season? Big MAC guy, big college football guys right here. Maddie and I are. We're gonna hit a stretch of college football questions here.
Let's go.
So which is good. You probably got to put Northern Illinois as a top dog. I think it's gonna be good. Gonna be good. I always love MAC. It's always good. Then I'm a Toledo guy. I like Toledo, so I'll probably go Toledo 2. Miami of Ohio's not bad. Central Michigan had a buddy, Parker Sampson, who was their place kicker last year. Obviously, we know Sky Moore went to Western Michigan. A lot of good guys come out of Western Michigan. PJ Fleck, one of my favorite coaches. I think I like PJ Fleck. I think Maddie, do you like PJ or do you not like him?
Yeah, there's some goods and some bads there. There's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. I think for being there for what it is, I think is a good one though. Yes.
Okay, I'm glad somebody I know doesn't like PJ Fleck. I've got to find that person. I can't remember who they are, but I think that's probably my top 4. Did
you say Miami of Ohio?
Did I?
I think Miami of Ohio is pretty strong right now. Them and Kent State. I mean, they're in the East. The East. I think that's what the MAC divisions are. They're opposite of Northern Illinois though, and Central and the Michigan schools. Like they're opposite of them. But Miami of Ohio, Kent State, they've been building out solid teams for a while now and getting guys to work up into the draft. Kent State, I guess, not as much in the draft. It's just they have a very fun MAC college-y offense that's really good. So like both of those schools, I think, are, always going to be towards the top of their division, which makes them compete in the MAC. And then like, it's been a few years. I know Buffalo lost a couple coaches over the past 3 years, but Buffalo was a pretty strong there for a while with the power run game. They kind of had a lot of teams that were working out of the spread a little bit in fits with how physical they were. I don't know if this is the year they rebound, but they, a couple years ago they were fun and they're still not bad. But Miami of Ohio, team to keep your eyes on if you're a big MAC guy.
Yeah, they had they've always got good guys coming out of there too. It seems like they always have a sleeper or two, especially an offensive lineman coming out of Miami of Ohio. Central Michigan last year had Bernard Raymond, who was a guy who was kind of one of those offensive tackles people were talking about. I can't remember who I saw tweet this. It was either Nate Tice or Dane Brugler tweet out not a particularly high rated tackle class this year in terms of the draft, which will be something to take a peek on. That can obviously change. It is July 28th when we're recording this podcast. So don't hold us to that. But yeah, I think that West, I really think whoever wins that West division in the MAC is probably going to win the MAC, if that makes sense.
I'm sticking with my Redhawks, sticking with Miami of
That's
Ohio,
fine.
taking the MAC this year. That's what we're doing. I
That's
mean,
fine.
Northern Illinois is hard to beat, but I'm gonna stick with Miami of Ohio for now.
Pretty salty ball club they got there. All right, Rugby Fox. Who is your pick for most surprising cut, Maddie?
It's Noah Gray. It's been Noah Gray. We've had this question pop up a few different times. I don't think the Chiefs can keep 4 tight ends and 4 halfbacks. It's going to be with a fullback, 4 tailbacks or whatever you want to call them. I don't know if they can keep both this year with the uncertainty of the wide receiver room and the offensive line room. I think you might have to sacrifice one of those positions down to 3 guys. Out of everybody there, I think Noah Gray's skill set is the one that is the most easily replicated by other tight ends or other wide receivers, like these bigger guys that we always talk about with Juju, with MVS. These guys can do a lot of the same stuff as Noah Gray can. So I don't know if I see the niche for him. And so he's kind of my surprise cut guy.
Derek Gore.
Is that a surprise cut?
I don't know.
I think he's got to be expected cut, right? He's like running back 5.
Yeah.
No?
I was going to say Ronald Jones. I was like, hang on.
There you go. Be more bold. That's a lot more of a surprise, though.
Is his money guaranteed? That's something that we should be asking.
I don't think so.
There's a reason.
We were talking about some safeties, I think, on the lab earlier this week, and it was put in chat. I don't think we brought it up because Deion Bush came up. Deion Bush's contract is guaranteed, I know for a fact. Big buddy, Chief Bearcat pointed that out in the chat. We didn't get around to calling it out. So, guys, when the money's guaranteed, they're probably sticking. When it's not guaranteed, I don't think Ronald Jones is guaranteed at a significant amount. They're on the block.
Let's see here. Oh my gosh, it just popped up. I've got to sign in. No, okay. His dead cap is 750,000.
Yeah,
it's 750,000 guaranteed. So I'm saying Ronald Jones. I'm changing my answer. Ronald Jones.
There we go.
Lock it in.
Day
1 starter. Ready for this? Day 1 starter. Zay Pacheco. All right, moving on to the next question. Drew Clark for Tucker. That was me. Top 3 players to watch on Mizzou this season. Man, I think I don't want to say there's a few players. Obviously, I gotta say Luther Burden because he played really well in the spring game, so that obviously turned some heads. I said obviously a whole lot right there, but I think one position battle to really watch out on the offensive side of the ball, sans quarterback, right? Because quarterback's obviously the one that people are going to be watching out for. I think it's going to be the center. Because they've got to replace a center, and there's a center battle going on right there. The offensive line, they've got a lot of guys returning. Unfortunately, last year they had a lot of guys get reps at the offensive line position, which is good for this year, but last year wasn't great. So they're going to be returning some guys there. I like where the offensive line is heading, and I think you gotta take a peek there. I think his name's Wood, last name Wood. I think that's who is the center that's going to end up taking it is. And man, Toski Dove, you got to talk about Toski Dove. He had a good year at the end of the year last year, put together some good catches, put together some good games with kind of a carousel at quarterback. You're talking about Tyler Macon, Brady Cook, and Connor Bazelak all trying to throw him the ball. And I think he did a good job. They've got I really like the wide receiver core that Drink has put together. And that's one of the positions I think that can be absolutely nasty in a few years. Because when you start to talk about adding guys like Josh Manning, who just committed from Lee Summit, a guy who was really turned on by Josh Peeler going there, and working with AJ Brown, working with DK Metcalf, a guy who's as a wide receiver coach has had some pedigree wide receivers come out of it. You got to look at that position. The defense has got to get better. So I think you're looking at every defensive position. Drinkwitz said this in his press conference for media days. They brought in a defensive player at every single position, a transfer defensive player at every single position for competition. And I think that that's kind of important. They're going to have to basically start from scratch. They've had 3 defensive coordinators in 3 years. So this is going to be their 3rd one now in Drinkwitz era. So those are kind of the positions and things that I'm looking for out of Mizzou team. I know I didn't give you specific players, but those are the things that I am looking for. And Maddie, a question for you.
hold on. Before you get that, no,
Okay,
no
hold
love
on.
for you, big offensive line guy. We're not going to mention Javon Foster out here. We're not going
I
to
mean,
tell the good people to go out there and watch the left tackle that has to make a pretty big step. But if he does, he has the profile that gets drafted in the top 100, 150 picks.
he definitely has the frame. I think that he has the frame to do it. He definitely has to got to put some tape together. I think this year to really boost his draft stock. He talked about leaving, I believe, last year, and was advised to come back. I think is kind of what happened. But yeah, if anytime you have a left tackle return, that's a good thing for your program. So I think it's exciting that offensive line is going to be solid. I'll say it. I think it'll be solid. I think another position, running back. They brought in 2 transfers at running back because they got to try to fill all of the production that Tyler Beatty had last year, which Tyler Beatty had an incredible year on an incredibly average team. And I think that's going to be exciting to watch too. And you're going to see how much of it was Tyler Beatty, how much of it was the offensive line. I'm gonna tell you this right now. A lot of it was Tyler Beatty, and I think that's gonna be an exciting year for the Missouri Tigers. I'm excited for this football team. I know there's a lot of K-State fans talking trash, talking some mess to me on Twitter. I'm just letting it play. I'm just letting it go. I'm just letting it go.
K-State's gonna maul. Is it going? You guys don't play this year, right?
Yeah, we play week 2 in
Manhattan. Oh my God, K-State is gonna mollywop the Tigers.
Their quarterback is Adrian Martinez.
For K-State, that's not bad.
Don't ask me who Mizzou's quarterback is going to be. But their quarterback is Adrian Martinez. So I rest my case.
I get it. No. I get it. I fully understand it. But then at the same time, I've watched K-State's quarterbacks over the years, and I don't know if they're really taking a step back. It's the same guy. It's been the same guy for 2 decades, and they've still been, a decent team. So I'm taking K-State in that one. We'll have to do a show leading up to that.
That's fine. I mean,
I'll just talk trash about K-State because I'm a avid K-State fan.
Yeah, Maddie is a neutral, I believe, in college football, right? You don't have a team that you root for?
Pretty much. I just root for chaos and then teams I find fun. Our Bearcats.
Our Bearcats, indeed.
Not the fake ones that are in Missouri, but the real ones in Cincinnati. Let me clarify real quick.
I know. All right, Maddie, you got a question in this too from Drew Clark. Top 3 players to watch on the University of Kansas team this year.
Do they have 3 football players? I didn't even know they had a football team.
That's Kent. Hey, Jamar Chase committed there once.
Kent is very quick to tell me about that. Who's their quarterback? Their quarterback is fun. I know that. But number 1, Jalen Daniels, yes. But the number 1 got to watch our guy, Jared Casey. Big friend of the show. And then Jalen Daniels is fun. There's a defensive back. I had to pull up a depth chart to get his name because I don't watch a lot of Kansas football. That I think made some plays last year. I would only know him more by number. Jacoby Bryan, I think that's a corner. I think he was pretty fun last year. He had some ball production that kind of flashed on tape a little bit. It's if you're watching Kansas football, you're not watching for prospects.
That's fair. That's true. You're watching for pain. Casey for Casey. I like this question. How's our new number 10 looking? Number 10, if you don't know, is Isaiah Pacheco. I have enjoyed Isaiah Pacheco. There's a couple highlight clips that were tweeted out from the KC Sports Network Twitter account. If you're not following, make sure to go follow that account. We were tweeting out all kinds of stuff from training camp. Looking good, running routes out of the backfield. Took a couple handoffs, inside zone type handoffs. And obviously looked good. Listen, again, hard to tell. Shorts and T-shirts, that whole thing. But I think that he looks good right now. I'm excited for him to make the team and be a guy that can contribute, maybe on special teams as well. I haven't really gotten a good look at what these the special teams lineups yet because they haven't put in pads on again. All they're doing right now is returning. He hasn't been back deep returning. It's been mostly Sky Moore. I think I tweeted out Trent McDuffie on Thursday was returning kicks. I thought that was kind of fun if he was able to return some kicks, but don't want to put that jeopardy out there. But I'd be interested to see if he could return kicks. If that could get him on the field. I'm sure he'll get on the field other ways in terms of the special teams, which will help him carry on the roster, which will also help him in a position at running back.
I think he generally looks explosive. That shows up whether it's at training camp or on film. I haven't been at camp, so I haven't got to see a lot. Like, I'm only getting to see what people are putting out there. Haven't seen a lot of Pacheco clips come around. I imagine he's mostly working with the third string and kind of like the spot duty as of right now, maybe a few second team reps. Like, you're probably not going to see much. I don't know if I have super high expectations for year one, as much as I think he provides something that would be very helpful to this team. The return of Jerick McKinnon to me kind of solidified that Pacheco can and likely will come along a little bit slower unless injuries force him up the depth chart.
Yeah. I like him. I think he's a good guy. I was stoked when they drafted him, as we all were. Next question from Jay Nuck. Anyone getting first or second team reps that surprise you? And I brought this up a little bit earlier, and I think that it's kind of my answer. I didn't know, who the heck their right guard was when they were running in the second team reps. Mike Caliendo. Didn't know him, so that kind of surprised me as a rookie, kind of running with those guys. But then once you start looking at who else would play guard, you're like, oh, okay, that's probably about right. Anything with you, Maddie?
Joshua Williams getting some first team reps
Yeah.
when they go nickel. That was a little bit of a surprise that I like. But the bigger one that I would have said is even less likely, DiCaprio Boodle being the second team nickel.
Mhm.
How about that? One, his name should be DiCaprio Bootley. I'm sorry. Like, I know it's not his name. I don't want to disrespect the man, but DiCaprio Bootley is an entirely different player than DiCaprio Boodle. Getting second team reps, though, that's good to see. Here's a guy that played corner and safety at Nebraska. Craig was a huge fan last year when he was coming out of the draft. I also liked him. So seeing him jump in for Snead when Snead had to go off and, like I said, be that second team nickel was something that I did not have on my Chiefs training camp bingo card. So that was a fun one to see and to monitor, I think, going forward.
You see the same clip where Sky Moore routed out DeAndre Baker. Jody Fortson kind of manhandled him in the slot.
Yeah, Jimmy Fortson's a big guy.
Jody Fortson, bigger than you think he is, because when I was at camp today, dude did one of those jumps you do to like get warmed up, and he jumped probably as tall as I am. Dude's big. Dude's big. Also big, Juju Smith-Schuster. That's a big dude. I didn't realize how big he was. Sky Moore, large legs. That dude does not skip a leg day. He does not trade out any other exercises for legs. And you know what is a great trade? Trade coffee. Listen, I took this trade coffee test. I've talked about this before, and I got a nice local roaster out of Topeka. I think it's called LC's. Out of Topeka, and they sent it to me. I don't drink coffee all that much, but when I do drink coffee, I want it to be good coffee because I don't want any of that crap. If I'm going to drink coffee, I want it to be good coffee. And Trade, they send you freshly roasted beans from 60 of the country's best craft roasters. These are all small businesses who pay farmers fair prices to sustainably source the greatest beans from around the world. Truth is, what I like is different from what Maddie likes, what Craig likes, what BJ likes, what anybody likes. It's very different. I'm 23 years old and I barely like the taste of coffee. So it's very different from what Craig likes. I know that for a fact because we spent a week in Vegas together. So I think that's why Trade is so great. You will like the selection of coffees based on what's recommended to you by their experts. They've got over 455 roasts, so they know exactly what's right for you. You just go on, you answer a couple questions, you'll get your own personalized variety of coffees, fresh and delivered right to your door as frequently as you want. You can tell them as many times as you want. No gimmicks. You get it. You get it right to your door. You get it beans, you can get it grounds. You can do it however you want. You can French press it. You can put it in your K-cups. You can do whatever. And Trade has delivered over 5 million bags. That's a lot of bags of fresh coffee for more than 750,000 positive reviews. That's the same amount of positive reviews as money that's guaranteed on Ronald Jones' contract. Right now, Trade is offering new subscribers a total of $30 off your first order plus free shipping when you go to drinktrade.com/KCSN. That's more than 40 cups of coffee for free. Get started by taking their quiz at drinktrade.com/KCSN and let Trade find you a coffee you'll love. That's drinktrade.com/KCSN for $30 off. All right, Maddie, we got 7 questions left. Let's rapid fire these. What are your thoughts on that?
We're really good at that, so we should nail this.
What do you think about the anonymous comments made by a defensive coordinator that Patrick is not a tier 1 quarterback?
Coward, clown. Next.
I summed it up perfectly. Matt K, when the 2020 season is over, how many teams from the AFC will be in the top 10 of DVOA?
10, because the NFC is a bunch of cowards and clowns. Next.
Yeah, but the Rams. 9. Zach, easy content, Phil McGorkin. Is there a hypothetical world where we have the options of Colin, Zimmer, or Spags for DC? If so, who are you taking, Maddie?
I don't know. I've actually spent some time here. I don't know if Andy
Yeah.
has any connection to Mike Zimmer, and therefore I'm gonna go ahead and cut that one out. Not that it's impossible. It's just I don't know that what that draw would be, what the tie there would be. So, and I don't know Zimmer's defense, the way the NFL's trending. The option of Spags or Colin, maybe. I don't think Andy would out Spags or refuse to bring him back to hire somebody that's already here. So I think Colin only takes over if Spags chooses to walk away. I'm okay with that to see what it looks like. Of those three, though, right now, who do I think the best defensive coordinator is? I still think it's Steve Spagnolo of those guys.
I would agree. How old is Steve Spagnolo? I'm Googling that right now. And I'm just kind of talking to do you have a guess?
Do
How
what?
old, do you have a guess of how old Steve Spagnolo is?
Oh, he's older than you think he is.
I know. I just want to see if you have a
I don't. 62.
holy cow. Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, he's 62. You knew that, didn't you?
No, I had
There's
no
no
idea.
chance.
I just know that he has an energy that says he's not 60 something, but he's been around. He's been around for a hot minute. That really was pulled out of nowhere. I would tell you
that was really
if I
good.
did.
Yeah, that was really good. I'm impressed. Okay. Our friend Charles Goldman. If KCSN was to make a
Oh.
seltzer flavor, what would it be?
Well, you're the expert, so you got to go first. But I do have my answer when you're done.
Every seltzer company makes a black cherry. I think I've had this conversation before on this exact here
Yeah.
program.
Sure.
And I don't think it would be a black cherry. I don't think that would be the KCSN flavor. It's too bland. Lime is also another one that's like, if you get like a pack of seltzers from any company, that's going to be lime, cherry, and then usually two other ones. I'm trying to think what the mango is a very popular one. I think that if KCSM was to do a hard seltzer, it would be something that is not a common flavor, not something that is in every single sort of pack. One of my favorite seltzers. I really like the ranch waters. Vastly underrated by myself. I don't know why I did that, but
There's
I
probably a
think
difference between like sipping on one and chugging it. I would
you're
imagine.
right. There's a very large difference between doing those things. And maybe I should have thought about that a little bit more when I was giving out these ratings, but
I'll pull back the curtain. I don't know if the people know this. When I was on a vacation this summer, I chugged one and recorded myself, and I did a Tucker spoof and sent it to him. I don't know how he does it. I feel like I can chug it, but I feel miserable afterwards. There's so much burping. It doesn't feel good. It's not fun. It's not fun.
I just do it for the people. Really, is what keeps me going. Is I know people want to see. I haven't done one in a long time, just because we've gotten so busy with other stuff. I just haven't done one in a long time. I think that like if KCSM was going to do one, it would be one that's like flavored like a cocktail, right? So
Yeah.
like a watermelon mojito or something like that,
Okay.
or a spicy margarita
Ooh, I'm in.
seltzer. Yeah, let's
right.
do that. Spicy margarita seltzer.
Okay,
That's
but
my
I got
favorite.
two options for you. First and foremost, the obvious answer: street corn.
Yes, street corn. Yeah.
And again, the people don't know Tucker was quite enamored by street corn when we were in Vegas. So
Yeah, good street corn there.
yeah,
They got good
thanks.
street corn there.
But no, it would have. I mean, like, look, if it's KCSN, it's got to get the big guy's approval. That's BJ Kissel. The only way we're getting his approval is it's got to be a Bang energy drink flavored seltzer. That's the only way that BJ's getting on board.
Cherry Blade lemonade.
Whatever. It does, like, I don't even want the flavor. It's Bang insert flavored seltzer is what it has to be.
Pretty good.
The only option.
All right, a couple. Well, we got one Chiefs question, one broad NFL Chiefs-ish question, and then one that doesn't relate to anything. Let's start with the Chiefs one.
Okay.
Which Mahomes era rosters, including this one, were the most and least talented overall?
Okay, I think the Chiefs' very first Mahomes era roster, so it would be like a 2019, 2018,
Yeah.
2018.
I'd consider it 19, yeah.
Then I think it's the 18. I think the loss to the Patriots in the playoffs is the best team. I
Oh,
think
yeah,
it
yeah, that's right.
was
Okay.
the coaching staff was probably the weakest, but like the pass rush that they still had that year with still having a full complement of weapons, I think pushes them above. I would almost say it's just kind of descended down every year from then until now. This year, I do think might might jump back ahead over last year. So it's going to be like 18, 19, 20, I think 22, then 21. I think that's where I'm leaning right now, but I kind of got to see how it plays out.
Yeah. 2018 was a good roster. That was a solid roster.
It
And
was.
they didn't win it with that team. That's how it goes, man. That's how it goes. It's like,
They would have. They would have waxed the Rams
oh, that was so bad.
had they
That
played that
Super Bowl
Super
was so
Bowl. They
bad.
would have waxed them. So yeah,
Super Bowl was
fun.
so bad. Okay, here we go. This one's for me. Who lasts longer on a loan between Maddie and Craig? This is from Jay the Fan. Man, listen, Craig is a survivalist, in my opinion. Craig goes out and he just does that for fun. So like, sorry, Maddie, I'm gonna give it to Craig because I think that Craig could really hold his own. He doesn't need as many calories probably as you do to sustain. Because you know,
This is true.
I
I,
think
I
I think
I listen, losing out to Craig, that's fine. It would be fun. I think I know a fair bit about these things. I think I've probably watched the most shows of Alone between all of us.
mm,
So I don't know if
yeah,
that stuff seeps into my head or not. I will say this though, I do need more calories, but I have a little extra fat to burn than Craig. Craig would
yeah,
get real skinny real fast out there, but he does not have a lot of fat stores that he can use. There was a follow up for me.
mhm,
How close is Tucker's hair to catching Kent's? No, his hair will never catch Kent's in terms of perfection.
sure.
However, Tucker's overall aesthetic, the hair, the beard, the combo, top tier. Absolute top tier. I cannot wait and to see how long he grows this out before he gets done with it. Can't
Yeah,
wait.
we're gonna see. Maybe I'll get a mullet. Who knows? It's just
Oh,
gonna be one of
please.
those things of just like I've got to find somebody to give me a good mullet first off. So if anyone's in the Kansas City area and knows of any good
Just
barbers slash hairstylists that give good mullets,
just go through your Chiefs contacts and ask to get Andrew Wiley's barber.
oh, that's a good call. I should ask for Creed's barber too, but I have a feeling he like goes back to like Shawnee and gets his haircut.
I have a feeling he just does it in the kitchen with safety scissors.
It's true. Today at Chiefs training camp, if you're listening, this is on Friday. So Thursday when I was at Chiefs training camp, a security guard kept looking at me, and I was just like, "Why does this dude keep looking at me?" He's like on the other side. He was like on the field, and he was like walking. He was like walking with me, and he said, "Are you related to Creed Humphrey?" I said, "No, I'm not." And he's like, "You look just like Creed. Like you look like you could be his brother." And I was like, "Thank you." People on Twitter have told me that I look like Creed Humphrey, and I do. Like, there's some pictures of Creed Humphrey. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's me."
There's some double takes.
Yeah, there is for sure. Um, but yeah, no, I think that who knows how long I let my literally have not cut my hair since Vegas. So think about that. Have not gotten a haircut since we were in Vegas.
Can it make it
Um,
back to Vegas? Can the same locks get back to Vegas?
it might be a mullet by then. I'm telling you, I'm really tempted by a mullet. Not only a mullet, the Maddie, I'm gonna perm it. I'm gonna get a permed mullet.
I want you to, because I'd say this. Like I don't, my hair does some crazy stuff. My hair gets long, it just starts curling, and then it's really thick, and I sweat a lot, and it just starts curling, and it kind of gets like white guy hair afro-y, but like not in a
Mm,
good way at all. I wish I lived in the era of the mullet, man. I would so have a mullet, but my hair just does not grow that way. So like you should do it for me.
yeah. I think so. Like if I'm gonna get my hair cut until it'll be like a nice proper like Kent cut anyway, right? If that's the final destination, like what I had before, I started growing my hair out. Why not make a little detour on the way home? You know,
Please do.
that's what I'm thinking. I told that to Tommy Townsend today too, and he's like, "I totally agree with you. You should definitely do that." So like, it's going to happen. Last question here, Ross Sawyer: three former Seahawks D linemen for Veach. A trend to continue or a coincidence, Maddie?
The Seattle Seahawks follow a very specific mold of defensive lineman, defensive tackles and defensive ends that they like. They have run the 4-3 over with a hard, strong side tackle, then a weak side or strong side defensive end, and then a weak side defensive end. So that gives them a wider berth. So, like, Steve Spagnello is very specific in what he wants. The Seahawks share that same similarity in what they want out of their strong defensive end. Their weak defensive end kind of splits out to something different. But essentially, what I'm saying is the athletic profile, the physical profile for the Seahawks strong side defensive end is very similar to what the Chiefs like, what Steve Spagnuolo likes in all of his defensive ends. So, like, I don't think it's somewhere between a coincidence and planned. I do think the Chiefs know that the Seahawks have a similar eye for physical profile at that one position. I think Jared Reed was just more of a luck thing, but the Frank Clark, Carlos Dunlap being interested maybe in any other guys that come out of there, I don't think that's just random. I think that they share a very similar preferred positional group in their defensive end, specifically that strong side one for the Seahawks. So I wouldn't be surprised if the next strong side defensive end ends up on a Steve Spagnuolo radar 3 years in the future.
Did Jaron Reed sign anywhere?
Green Bay. He is
That's right.
backing up Kenny Clark, playing with Kenny Clark. But yeah, he's in Green Bay.
Good for him. He deserves it.
Yeah. All
Like,
players
right?
deserve to get paid. Last question. I know this you said last question. This is the last question. Would you rather take on 12 Tucker-sized turkeys? 12, sorry. I've messed this up. 1 Tucker-sized turkey or 12 turkey-sized Tuckers in a fight? Like a turkey your size or 12 ewes that are the size of a turkey.
Probably 1 turkey, right? Like, that's got to be the answer.
That's a big turkey.
That's a big turkey, but I mean,
You ever seen a turkey jump and kick something? Like, imagine
No, I
yourself as a
haven't.
giant raptor-like bird drop kicking you in the chest with talons.
That's true. But I think like 12 like little turkeys, turkeys not that small.
No, they're
so
not.
if you're thinking about 12 turkey-sized humans trying to fight you, that's like 12 children. So like this all goes back of like
The visual would have been a lot funnier. I was planning on doing this with Craig, but I just couldn't hold it off anymore. But I think the visual would have been better with Craig just because he's so tall. But I still want to get your take on if you would rather fight 1 Tucker-sized turkey or 12 children-sized Tuckers.
children's size. Those go about my knee, probably.
These turkeys are probably coming up to at least your mid-thigh.
Okay, no, then I'm taking the 1 turkey. I can't take 12 of me to my thigh, to mid-thigh. No chance. I know my play. I know my fight style. I can't take them.
Man, I think you lose either one. I think that the 1 turkey that's the same size of you wipes you clean off the face of the earth so fast, whereas the 12 little Tuckers, they just beat you down. They just wear you down over time.
See, it's like death by 1,000 paper cuts, or just get it over quick.
Or just 1 drop kick to the chin from a giant turkey.
I think you're giving giant a whole meaning. I'm not that big. Like, I'm not tall.
Man,
so it's
listen,
it's like a 5'8" turkey.
It's a big turkey.
That's a big turkey.
You ever seen Jurassic Park and seen like a pterodactyl? Like, you're taking on a pterodactyl. You're fighting a pterodactyl, like from Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
It's a big bird.
I'm not as big as a pterodactyl.
I didn't say wingspan. All right, this has gone off the rails. I don't even know where we're at anymore. I think it's a good question. Let us know in the Discord if you would think that Tucker would fare better against 1 Tucker-sized turkey or against 12. I can't even say the numbers anymore. It's late. Let us know who Tucker could lose fast or quicker against.
That's a good point. Yeah, thank you to our friends at Macadoodles, as always, for supplying the good times, supplying the booze. They got a great location down in Osage Beach. Frequented it a few times when I was down in Osage Beach at Margaritaville, working down there for working. I was out down there for a bachelor party. So that's a great location. Make sure to go check it out. If you're still heading to the lake, still summertime, people still going to the lake. Got to catch those rays, for the last few times. So got to go out there to the Osage Beach Macadoodles location. They're gonna have a new location coming in Lee Summit here pretty soon. In the fall, we'll be there. We'll let you know when it's going to be here. So we appreciate you listening to this episode of 21 Questions. We'll be back next week with more questions. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to the KCSN Daily Substack, where you get daily newsletters about what's going on in Chiefs Kingdom. You also get access to the Discord, where you get to ask us your questions, your burning questions that you have about the Kansas City Chiefs and much more. We will talk to you next week. See ya.